Hello and welcome to KGW News at 5 o'clock. We begin with a presidential visit to the Rose City. The White House announced today President Biden will be in Portland next week. Thank you for joining us. I'm Laurel Porter. The president's plans also include a visit to Seattle as part of a West Coast trip. He'll be in Portland on Thursday, April 21st. Then the president will travel to Seattle on Friday, which is also Earth Day. Exact visit details are pretty scarce right now, but the president is expected to speak about investments being made from the recent infrastructure bill. Oregon and Washington are set to receive billions in federal funding. The president will also address growing the country's clean energy economy.
I am deeply concerned, and we need to act with a sense of urgency now. With summer approaching, a time when we know violence increases.
Multnomah County Sheriff Mike Reese says the time is now to tackle violent crime in the city. The sheriff detailed his plan to end the violence in an open letter to the community. Mike Benner sat down with the sheriff. He joins us now with more on what he had to say. Mike?
Well, Laurel, some people may not remember, but before becoming Multnomah County Sheriff, Mike Reese was Portland Police Chief. He's invested in this city, in this county, in this community, and he wholeheartedly believes we can get to a better place despite the way things look right now.
I am deeply concerned, and we need to act with a sense of urgency now.
Multnomah County Sheriff Mike Reese opens up about violent crime in Multnomah County. The sheriff says more than 100 people incarcerated in Multnomah County jails are there for murder or attempted murder.
That equals back to 1994. And the pattern that we're seeing is that it's escalating.
Even worse, the sheriff says, is the number of adults in custody who are there for other violent crimes like robbery and sex assault.
They're over 50% of our jail population right now. That's, again, unprecedented.
As are the record high levels of traffic fatalities and overdose deaths, according to the sheriff. In an open letter to the community, Sheriff Reese says his office and partner agencies must act now to end the madness.
We are doing good things. We need to do more of it.
The sheriff says it starts with taking guns away from people prohibited from having them, not to mention targeting reckless and impaired drivers in high crash corridors.
So that we reduce the reckless driving and impaired driving that we're seeing in our community, and we overlay where that happens with data from gun violence events so that we put deputies and police officers in areas where there's gun violence and traffic accidents and traffic fatalities.
Sheriff Reese says increasing accessibility to funding for neighborhood groups that work with kids and communities of color is critical too, as well as addressing livability concerns and increasing resources for specialty teams focused on going after criminal organizations.
We need to do more of that. That work saves lives.
And perhaps it's never been more important than right now. Summer, a time we typically see an increase in violence, is right around the corner. The sheriff says sitting idly by is not an option. Taking action is the only path to a safer community.
I am certain we can. And it just takes a commitment, it takes resources, it takes a data-driven approach.
All right, the sheriff says he and his team cannot do this alone. They'll need help from the Portland Police Bureau, the Gresham Police Department, even some neighborhood and community groups. I think at the end of the day, this open letter to the community is really a call to action. Laurel?
Well, I know a lot of people want to see that action. Thank you, Mike. And a dangerous trend on TikTok may have made its way to the streets of Portland. Unsuspecting victims are being shot at with BB pellets. Christelle Kumwe has been looking into this trend. Christelle?
Yeah, so Laurel, the videos on TikTok show teens driving around and shooting people with pellet guns while recording. Now, a woman who lives in North Portland says she may have been one of the targets. Alan Bowman says she was walking her dog Tuesday night on North Mississippi Avenue. A red sedan pulled up about 20 feet away from them. She says a passenger in the car shot BB pellets at her face, her boyfriend's face, and the dog before another person in the car drove away.
I think my dog and I were hit first. I think that's what happened because it hit me in my cheek on my face right here, and it really startled me.
They may be really small, but if somebody gets hit in the eye, it can be really dangerous.
Portland police haven't had any similar reports of these cases, but in Milwaukee last week, 2 kids were playing outside and were shot at with an airsoft-style gun.
Well, that is pretty scary. Thank you, Christelle, for updating us on that. A rescue operation underway in the Columbia River. The U.S. Coast Guard is looking for a person reported overboard. It happened at about 8:30 this morning near Crims Island. That's west of Longview. According to the call, the missing person was seen on the deck of a ship, then disappeared. Rescue crews are searching by land, air, and water. 2 members of a motorcycle gang have been sentenced to life in prison. They kidnapped, tortured, and murdered a former club member. One of the men sentenced, Mark Denklau, was president of the Portland Gypsy Joker Outlaw Motorcycle Club. He was among 6 members charged in connection with the death of former member Robert Huggins. Huggins' body was discovered in a Clark County field in 2015. The club grew in prevalence in the 1980s, establishing 6 chapters in the Pacific Northwest. According to court documents, the organization was known for violence, drug trafficking, and extortion. The city of Vancouver is giving back to businesses hurt most by the pandemic. It's coming in the form of refunds on some fees the city charges. Tim Gordon's in Vancouver for us. And Tim, city leaders really started this refund program pretty early in the pandemic.
Yeah, that's right, Laurel, and now they've extended it until the end of the year. So we're here in Vancouver's Uptown Village, and this is going to benefit a lot of folks right here in Main Street, USA in Vancouver. The business fee refund is not for everyone, but it is for businesses that rely heavily on customers coming in person. So we're talking restaurants, coffee shops, entertainment, and gyms really being the main recipients. So here's how it works. These businesses still must pay their business fees, including a $90 surcharge per employee, but they can get that $90 per worker back if they apply and qualify. Now, Java House has been in downtown Vancouver for coming up on 32 years and done very well, but the past 2 years have been tough. Lonnie Chandler says the refund will help as they bounce back.
You know, it may not sound like a lot, $400 or $500, but it's a lot. And it becomes a lot to our suppliers who then get paid, who are oftentimes small businesses like ours.
The only way for us to get that back to them is for them to apply to us. So we have to close that gap now and help them apply for that refund.
Yeah, the city says the average refund has been $800, so worth applying for sure. But a big part of why they're extending this until the end of the year is because only 17% of eligible businesses have applied so far. So they want to get the word out and have more businesses along Main Street and throughout the city of Vancouver apply and get these refunds, helping them build back. Laurel?
So hopefully the businesses get the word. Thank you, Tim. Students, teachers, and neighbors are pushing back against a plan to close the swimming pools on the Portland Community College Sylvania campus. More than 800 people signed a petition urging PCC to reconsider. PCC says there are significant structural issues and the pools need to be fully replaced, and that's a move they just can't afford. Students and staff aren't happy.
It broke my heart because I realized that it's going to impact the community, it's going to impact faculty, staff, and there's just going to be so many ripple effects because the community relies on our pools in a multitude of ways.
If it's been important enough for 50 years to have a pool, then it should be important enough to put forth the resources to maintain it and continue to offer the great services.
The lap pool and the diving pool are set to be decommissioned at the end of the spring term. This is important information about blood donations. As you make plans for Easter this weekend, maybe also include donating blood in your post-holiday schedule. BloodWorks Northwest says it is seeing a dip in donors right now, likely due to the spring break and holiday season. And that is creating an urgent need at hospitals in our region.
We are projecting and we can forecast ahead that we have really low donor appointments for the month of April and May. That is going to put the blood supply in even more of a critical status, bringing certain blood types like O positive, O negative down to less than a 24-hour supply.
Visit bloodworksnorthwest.org for more information about donation locations and how to sign up as a first-time donor.